Why are you trying to be a second-rate version of a stranger when the world hasn't even seen the first-rate version of you? You are currently engaged in a massive fraudulent exchange. You are trading your most valuable asset, your finite attention, for a curated digital lie that doesn't even exist in 3 dimensions. Let's look at the economics of your envy. Comparison is a market failure. Thomas Sowell noted that there are no solutions, only trade-offs. When you spend your morning scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, you are trading your mental clarity for a dopamine hit of inadequacy. You are comparing your internal raw footage to their professional studio production. It is an information failure of the highest order. It is logically incoherent to measure your step 1 against their step 20, yet you do it until your spirit is as bankrupt as a subprime lender in 2008. It is hilariously pathetic to watch a biological miracle, a creature forged through 4 billion years of survival, sit on a sofa and feel less than because a digital avatar has a better filter on their avocado toast. We have become a civilization of voyeurs, watching influencers who are just as lost as we are, following a map drawn by people who never left the parking lot. Milton Friedman understood that the only way to have true freedom is through individual responsibility, but you can be responsible for your life if you are too busy trying to live someone else's. Malcolm X didn't check the polls before he stood for his humanity. He didn't ask for a consensus. He understood that self-reliance is the only path to respect. Churchill didn't wait for a safe space before he decided to defy an empire. They knew that your individuality isn't a brand. It is your only leverage in a world that wants you to be a replaceable cog in a mediocre machine. Stop looking for a permission slip to be yourself. The algorithm wasn't designed to make you great. It was designed to keep you scrolling until you're too numb to act. Fuck the highlight reel. Fuck the personal brand. Here is your directive. Close the apps. Put the phone in another room. Sit in the silence until you remember who you actually are when nobody is watching. Identify the one thing you do better than anyone else, the thing that feels like play to you but looks like work to them, and double down on it with mechanical ferocity. Stop performing. Start producing. The world doesn't need more clones. It needs more originals. Get to work. Why are you standing there waiting for a permission slip from a world that doesn't even know you rebreathing? You act as if there is some celestial middle manager coming down to pat you on your head and tell you it is finally your time. In this video, we perform a cold-blooded audit of your reality, drawing on the logical realism of Thomas Sowell, the unyielding resolve of Winston Churchill, and the radical self-reliance of Malcolm X. We break down the high cost of your procrastination. You are currently in an economic deficit, trading your only finite currency, time, for the temporary comfort of an excuse. It's time to stop the professional victim narrative and enter the arena. Reality is not a democracy. It doesn't care about your feelings, your vision board, or your star sign. Gravity doesn't negotiate, and neither does the clock. Stop performing for an audience that isn't looking. Own your shit. Execute now. Why are you standing there waiting for a permission slip from a world that doesn't even know you rebreathing? You act as if there is some celestial middle manager coming down to pat you on your head and tell you it is finally your time. Let's look at the math, because the economics of your life are currently in a deficit. You are trading the only finite currency you possess, time, for the temporary comfort of an excuse. There is no such thing as a free lunch, yet you are trying to dine on the someday special while the bill is being charged to your future corpse. It is economically illiterate and psychologically suicidal. Thomas Sowell noted that there are no solutions in this life, only trade-offs. You want the result? Trade the sleep. You want the independence? Trade the safety. You want the respect. Trade the pathetic need to be liked by people you don't even respect. We have become a society of professional victims and recreational whiners, building safe spaces to hide from a reality that isn't even looking for us. Guess what? Reality is not a democracy. It doesn't care about your vision board, your feelings, or your star sign. Gravity does not negotiate, and neither does the morgue. History wasn't made by people who felt ready. It was made by people who were marinating in discomfort and decided to act anyway. Malcolm X knew that nobody gives you anything if you want a seat at the table. You bring your own chair and a sledgehammer. Churchill didn't wait for a focus group to decide if he should resist. He recognized that the only way through hell is to keep going. You are a biological miracle assembled from stardust and 4 billion years of successful evolution. And you re-spending your prime years hitting the snooze button on a life you claim to want. Stop performing for an audience that isn't looking. Stop treating your potential like a debt you can settle later. You are running out of later. Here is your move. Pick the one task you have been avoiding because it makes you feel unready. Do it now. Not when you've had more coffee, not on Monday, and not when you feel it. Fuck your feelings. The feeling follows the work, not the other way around. Get into the arena, do the work, take ownership. The lights are eventually going out. Make sure you gave the world a reason to remember yours were on. You have mistaken self-care for a suicide pact with your own potential. We have become a civilization of wet noodles, wrapped in a vocabulary of victimhood so sophisticated it would make a con artist blush. You aren't protecting your peace. You are fortifying your prison. Let's perform a cold-blooded audit of your reality. Thomas Sowell pointed out that the first rule of economics is scarcity. Yet the first rule of your daily life seems to be the delusion of infinite later. You act as if you are a permanent fixture in the universe, as if you have a century-long lease on a body that is currently depreciating faster than a subprime mortgage. You are a biological miracle standing on a rock hurtling through an infinite void. And you re-spending your prime years manifesting from your sofa while the lights are slowly dimming. It is hilariously pathetic. We've built a society so comfortable that we have to invent struggles to feel alive. We've turned anxiety into a personality trait and burnout into a badge of honor for people who haven't even struck a match yet. Milton Friedman knew that the most important part of freedom is the responsibility that comes with it, but you don't want freedom. You want a padded cell with high-speed Wi-Fi. You want the rewards of the arena without the inconvenience of the blood. Nobody is coming to hand you a trophy for your participation in your own stagnation. Malcolm X didn't wait for a safe space to demand his humanity. And Churchill didn't ask for a mental health day when the Luftwaffe was over London. They understood that the only way through hell is to keep walking, even when your boots are full of blood and your lungs are screaming. You think you're being kind to yourself by lowering the bar. You're not. You're being a goddamn coward. You are treating your fear like a sacred relic instead of what it actually is, biological data telling you that you are living a life that is too small for your frame. Here is the directive: stop negotiating with your weakness, stop treating your excuses like they're insights, pick the one thing you are most terrified of, the task that makes your palms sweat and your stomach. Turn and execute it with mechanical indifference. Fuck your readiness. Fuck your comfort. The world doesn't owe you a click or a like or a win. It owes you nothing. Get off the sideline. Step into the arena. Do the work. The clock is ticking, and the dealer doesn't give refunds on time wasted. Move. Have you ever felt like you're playing a role? Like every day is a performance, and you're just following a script written by someone else? We put on our costumes, the sharp suit for the office, the casual smile for social gatherings, and we recite our lines. We talk about the weather, we discuss the latest trends, we plan for a future that always seems just out of reach. But what if we stopped? What if, just for a moment, we dropped the act? Think about it. We spend so much of our lives chasing a highlight reel. We scroll through social media, seeing curated versions of other people's lives, and we feel a pressure to measure up. We chase promotions, bigger houses, faster cars, all in the pursuit of a happiness that's defined by external standards. We're constantly performing for an invisible audience, hoping for applause in the form of likes, compliments, or envy. But in this grand theater of life, are we even enjoying the play? Or are we just exhausted actors waiting for the curtain to fall? The truth is, this constant performance disconnects us from what's real. It disconnects us from the present moment. We're so busy staging the perfect photo of our coffee that we forget to even taste it. We're so focused on crafting the perfect witty response in a conversation that we miss the genuine connection that is being offered. We are living in a story about our lives instead of living our actual lives. So how do we break free? It starts with a simple yet profound act, paying attention to the here and now. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin without thinking about how you need to capture this moment for Instagram. Really listen to the sound of a friend's laughter without planning what you're going to say next. Taste the food you're eating, savoring each bite instead of rushing through your meal while scrolling on your phone. This isn't about rejecting ambition or goals. It's about changing our relationship with them. It's about finding joy not just in the destination, but in the journey itself. The journey is your life, the messy, unpredictable, beautiful, and sometimes difficult reality of it. The real you isn't the polished character you play online or at work. The real you is the person who feels tired after a long day, the one who gets excited about a small, silly thing. The one who is navigating this complex world with all their imperfections and strengths. Embracing this reality is liberating. It means you don't have to have it all figured out. It means it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to not be perfect. When we let go of the need to perform, we create space for genuine connection. We start to see the people around us not as supporting characters in our story, but as complex individuals living their own reality. We can offer them our authentic selves, and in return, we invite them to do the same. The world doesn't need another perfect performance. It needs you, your real, unscripted, unfiltered self. It needs your unique perspective, your genuine emotions, your true presence. So take a deep breath, let the curtain fall on the performance, step off the stage and into your life. The real show, the one that truly matters, is happening right here, right now. Don't miss it. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more reflections on living a more authentic life. See you next time. You are currently suffocating in a climate-controlled room of your own making, and you call it security. I call it a velvet-lined coffin. You've spent your life fortifying a perimeter around your current abilities, terrified that if you step over the line, the world might realize you aren't as competent as you pretend to be. Let's look at the cold, hard economics of your hesitation. In the market of life, safety is a depreciating asset. Milton Friedman understood that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Every minute you spend hugging the shore is a minute you pay for in the currency of obsolescence. You think you're avoiding risk by staying in that dead-end job or that lukewarm relationship. But you're actually incurring the highest risk of all, the opportunity cost of your own evolution. Thomas Sowell pointed out that the first rule of economics is scarcity. There is a scarcity of time, yet you're reacting as if you have a 1,000-year lease on a body that is already aging. It is hilariously absurd to watch a biological machine forged through 4 billion years of predators and ice ages tremble at the thought of a career change or a difficult conversation. We have become a civilization of bubble-wrapped toddlers, terrified of a scraped knee in a world that requires a broken spirit to be forged into steel. You want the view from the summit, but you're currently negotiating with the incline. You want the new world. But you're too goddamn scared to lose sight of the shore. History was not written by the comfortable. Winston Churchill didn't offer the British people comfort and snacks. He offered them blood, toil, tears, and sweat. Malcolm X didn't wait for the right mood to demand his humanity. They knew that growth is a violent process. It requires the death of the person you are to make room for the person you could become. You think you're protecting yourself? You're just stagnating. A ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are for, and they eventually rot anyway. If you aren't feeling the shiver of discomfort at least once a day, you are atrophying. You are a ghost inhabiting a living body. Waiting for the funeral to make it official. Here is your directive. Identify the one thing you've been avoiding because you're not sure how it will turn out. Do it today. Not when you've done more research, not when the economy stabilizes, and not when you feel confident. Confidence is a byproduct of action, not a prerequisite. Step over the line. Embrace the burn. Step into the arena. The only thing you have to lose is the mediocre version of yourself that is currently holding you hostage. Move. You want to prove every last one of them wrong? Stop trying to win an argument. Start building an evidence locker. We've all stood there at the edge of the bed at 5 o'clock a.m. The floorboards aren't just cold. They feel like they're made of ice and judgment. The silence in the house is heavy. It's the weight of everyone who expects you to stay under the covers. That's where the work begins. Not in the wind, but in the friction. Every time your feet hit that grit on the floor when you want to hide that as a receipt. Every time you sit in front of this mic and your throat feels like sandpaper and you speak anyway that as a deposit. We talk about reps like they're just numbers. They're not. Reps are the calluses you. Grow over your own ego. Look at me. The dyslexia isn't a glitch. It's the texture of the work. When a word trips me up, when I stumble and the sentence fractures, I don't edit it out. Why? Because that stumble is sensory proof that I am currently outworking my own wiring. It's the sound of a machine being pushed past its factory settings. Every raw take you see, every unscripted roar. Every time the truth comes out scarred and jagged, that's me adding to the evidence locker. It is a body of work so undeniable that their opinions start to look like hallucinations. Ask yourself this when the resistance hits. What would the version of me who already burned their doubt do right now? Then do it. Mechanically, don't wait for the spark. Sparks are for amateurs. We are looking for combustion. Lao Tzu didn't say the first step was easy. He just said it was the only thing that existed. Confucius didn't care about the mountain. He cared about the individual stone in his palm and the grit it left on his skin. Roosevelt didn't want a clean life. He wanted the strenuous one. He wanted the toil. He wanted the bitter effort because he knew that a life without friction is a life that leaves no mark. Stop asking for the path to be smooth. The smoothness is the lie. The friction is the proof. Why are you attempting to be a second-rate version of a total stranger when the world hasn't even seen the first-rate version of you? You are currently engaged in a massive, fraudulent exchange. You are trading your most valuable, finite asset, your attention, for a curated digital lie that doesn't even exist in 3 dimensions. Let's look at the cold economics of your envy. Comparison is a market failure of the highest order. Thomas Sowell noted that there are no solutions, only trade-offs. When you spend your morning scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, you are trading your mental clarity for a dopamine hit of inadequacy. You are comparing your internal raw footage to their professional studio production. It is a logical fallacy. You are attempting to compete in a market where you have zero competitive advantage being someone else. It is hilariously absurd to watch a biological miracle, a creature forged through 4 billion years of survival and brutal evolution, sit on a sofa and feel less than because a digital avatar has a better filter on their vacation photos. We have become a civilization of voyeurs, following influencers who are just as lost as we are. Chasing a map drawn by people who never actually left the parking lot, Milton Friedman understood that true freedom is only possible through individual responsibility, but you cannot be responsible for your life if you are too busy trying to audition for someone else's. Malcolm X didn't check the polls before he stood for his humanity. He didn't ask for a consensus. He understood that self-reliance is the only path to respect. Churchill didn't wait for a safe space before he decided to defy an empire. They knew that your individuality isn't a personal brand, it is your only leverage in a world that wants you to be a replaceable cog in a mediocre machine. Stop looking for a permission slip to be yourself. The algorithm wasn't designed to make you great. It was designed to keep you numb and scrolling until you're too paralyzed to act. Every minute you spend wishing you had their life is a minute you aren't using to build yours. Here is your directive. Close the apps, put the phone in another room, sit in the silence until you remember who you actually are when nobody is watching. Identify your unfair advantage, that specific skill or strength that feels like play to you but looks like work to everyone else, and double down on it with mechanical ferocity. Stop performing. Start producing. The world doesn't need more clones. It needs the uncompromised truth of an original get to work. Imagine waking up tomorrow in a world where AI writes code faster than any human, economies shift overnight, jobs we train for vanish or transform, and the only constant is change itself. Sound familiar? That's not a dystopian future, it's right now in 2026. Yet in the middle of all this chaos, there's one thing that remains unshakable: your purpose. Not a fancy job title, not a bank balance, but that deep why that gets you out of bed when everything else feels uncertain. Today, I want to talk about how to discover or rediscover that purpose and how to live it gives you direction, resilience, and hope no matter what the world throws at you. The anchor in the storm, Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, survived unimaginable horror by holding on to meaning. He said, "Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose." Think about that, the circumstances. They change, AI disrupts industries, economic tides rise and fall. But when you have a clear sense of what truly matters to you, those storms don't define you. They test you, refine you, and sometimes redirect you towards something even more meaningful. Purpose isn't a luxury for calm times. It's the compass for uncertain ones. It turns anxiety into action, confusion into clarity, and survival into thriving. Step 1, discovering or rediscovering what truly matters. Purpose starts with brutal honesty about yourself. It's not found in comparison or trends, it's uncovered through reflection. Here are powerful questions to ask yourself. Grab a notebook later and answer them honestly. What activities make you lose track of time? That's often where passion hides. What breaks your heart about the world, and what would you fight to fix? What are your core values, the 2-3 things you'll never compromise on, even when it's hard? If money and judgment didn't exist, how would you spend your days? Looking back from your 90-year-old self, what legacy do you want to leave? What stories do you want people to tell about you? These aren't fluffy questions. They cut through the noise. Tools like the Japanese concept of ikigai can help visualize it, the sweet spot where what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for all overlap. It might not be one grand calling. It could be raising kind children, mentoring others in your field, creating art that heals, or building sustainable solutions in the AI era. The key? It feels like this is why I'm here. Step 2, aligning daily choices with your deeper why. Discovery is step 1. Living it is where the magic happens. Purpose isn't a destination. It's a filter for decisions in an uncertain world. When AI automates routine tasks, your purpose helps you pivot toward uniquely human strengths, creativity, empathy, connection. When economic shifts hit, your purpose reminds you that security isn't just money, it's impact, relationships, growth. When chaos feels overwhelming, your purpose grounds you. This choice aligns with my values or it doesn't. Simon Sinek reminds us, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. The same goes for your life. When your daily actions flow from your why, you build momentum. Small, consistent choices compound into a legacy. Start simple. Each morning ask, what's one thing I can do today that moves me closer to my purpose? Protect time for what lights you up. Protect it fiercely. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your why, not just your what. The uplifting truth, purpose evolves, and that's beautiful. Purpose isn't fixed. It grows as you do. In the AI era, it might shift from building things to guiding humans through change. In economic uncertainty, it might deepen into community, resilience, or innovation for good. That evolution isn't failure, it's proof you're alive and adapting. So here's my challenge to you today. Don't wait for certainty to find your purpose. Find your purpose to create certainty. In a world of rapid change, the people who thrive aren't the ones with all the answers, they're the ones with a clear why. They weather storms because they know where they're headed, even if the path twists. You have a masterpiece inside you, a unique combination of passions, gifts, values, and potential impact. The world needs it now more than ever. Take the first step this week. Sit with those questions. Write your why. Then live it one aligned choice at a time. Because when you live on purpose, uncertainty doesn't diminish you. It becomes the canvas for your greatest story. You've got this. Let's go build that legacy together. Thank you.